Hello BookTube and welcome to the continuation of my 2020 library tour. Today I'm going to be doing the top shelf of my headboard bookcase, or Agatha Christie and a few other people, because it's mostly Agatha Christie. So first I'm going to go for the books on top, and the first book is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne in a Great Illustrated Classics edition. I picked it up from my library when they withdrew it. Haven't gotten around to it yet, like many of the books I own. Anyway, and I also have a Penguin Classics catalog from a few years ago when we first moved into, or when I first moved into this apartment. For a few months after we moved in, we stopped getting mail. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I do to try to figure out, okay, what's going on? And we eventually figured it out. But one of my solutions was to request catalogs. And I requested a catalog from Penguin. And I got this Penguin Classics catalog, a few other ones, and a history one, which I don't think I have any of those anymore. Next, moving on to the bookend books. So on one end of this shelf, I have a lamp, and then on the other side I have some books piled up. So the first book is Kojiki, translated by Donald L. Philippi. This is a source book on ancient Japanese culture and legends and stuff, which I think I will ought to make a point to read that. Next are two literary criticism anthologies. The Critical Tradition, edited by David H. Richter. This is one of my favorite of the two. I had this one when I was in St. Edward's. And the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism, which I had at San Francisco State. I was thinking of doing a reading project next Nonfiction November where I would just read one of those two anthologies, and then I thought better of it. My hair. Oh well. And then I have a dictionary. And Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, which I originally bought for Pestilence, but I never got around to giving it to her, and I've kept it. Although I haven't really looked at it. I really should, but it's got some lovely illustrations. So, might be a project I do at some point. Let me put these up, and then we'll move on to the other books. So next up we have the complete works of Shakespeare in this massive tome. I picked this up for a Shakespeare class when I was at St. Edward's. I was in the honors program, and we had a class on Shakespeare, and I took it and quite enjoyed it. Next, we have Legends of the World, edited by Richard Cavendish. I've had this book forever. It's a collection of myths and legends from around the world. It's quite interesting. And then we have Smiley versus Carla. It's an anthology of including Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, The Honorable Schoolboy, and Smiley's People by John le Carré. Quite happy to have this in my collection. I've been wanting to read le Carré forever. I had an edition of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I don't know if it was an abridged version, or I thought it was an abridged version, but once I got the Omnibus edition, I'm like, yes, that's what I want. Next is a James Bond Omnibus by Ian Fleming. It includes Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Casino Royale, and Live and Let Die. And it is not in the order in which they were published, which I do not understand why, but it wasn't. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this collection. And I'll talk a bit more about James Bond tomorrow, because I will be doing a tag video where James Bond will probably feature quite prominently. But I picked that up from Amazon a little more than 4 years ago, because that Omnibus edition was at my local library, and I would check it out intermittently and read a novel from it, and I just decided I might as well just buy it myself. And next is the Columbia Anthology of Gay Literature. I'm not entirely sure where I picked this up from, though. I'm thinking maybe Barnes & Noble. But I don't know why Barnes & Noble would have these barcode things on it, because I don't think they do. Anyway, but this is like a global anthology of gay literature. Next is Forbidden Acts, edited by Ben Hodges. This is a anthology including God of Vengeance by Shalom Ash, The Captive by Edward Bourdet, The Children's Hour by Lillian Hellman, Oscar Wilde by Leslie and Sewell Stokes, The Immoralist by Ruth and Augustus Goetz, The Killing of Sister George by Frank Marcus, The Boys in the Band by Mark Crowley, Bent by Martin Sherman, As Is by William Hoffman, Love, Valor, Compassion by Terrence McNally. Picked this up in San Francisco. Oh, ages ago. I used to have a critical book on gay drama called Acting Gay. I might have had the kind of sequel expansion called Still Acting Gay by John M. Clum, which was quite good. He also had a book on male friendship in the movies. Then I'm forgetting what it's called. And now, at last, we get to Agatha Christie. 5 complete Miss Marple novels, including The Mirror Cracked, A Caribbean Mystery, Nemesis, What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw, and The Body in the Library. I'm not a huge fan of What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw or 450 from Paddington. And The Caribbean Mysteries, not necessarily one of my favorites. I really like The Mirror Cracked and Nemesis and The Body in the Library. I think, did I ever do a top 10, or, well, it wouldn't be top 10, but rank the Miss Marple novels one time? I don't know if I did. I'm going to go check. And then there's Starring Miss Marple, featuring A Murder is Announced, The Body in the Library, and Murder with Mirrors. Quite like Murder is Announced. And the two film adaptations, one starring Joan Hickson from the 80s, and then Geraldine McEwen from the early 2000s. Both are fantastic. Next is 5 complete Hercule Poirot novels. Murder in the Orient Express, one of the greatest detective novels ever written. 13 at Dinner, The ABC Murders, Cards on the Table, and Death on the Nile, which is one of my personal favorite Hercule Poirot novels. And then there is 5 complete novels of murder and detection by, again, Agatha Christie. This edition, or this collection, features, and then there were none in one of its many other titles. Peril at In-House, The Murder at Hazelmoor, Easy to Kill, and Evil Under the Sun, which I love that book, or that novel. And then we have another Miss Marple Meets Murder, featuring The Mirror Cracked, A Pocket Full of Rye at Bertram's Hotel, and The Moving Finger. A Pocket Full of Rye is one of my favorite, well, I think it's my personal favorite Miss Marple novel. I think The Bunny in the Library is arguably the best Miss Marple novel, but my personal favorite is A Pocket Full of Rye. And then we have 5 classic murder mysteries, featuring The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, another one of the greatest detective novels ever written, The Secret Adversary, The Boomerang Clue, The Moving Finger, and Death Comes at the End, which is a standalone detective novel. It's in part of our series. It's actually set in ancient Egypt. And I remember it being quite good, but it's been ages since I've read it. And finally, well, not finally, there's 2 more. Agatha Christie's Detectives, 5 complete novels. This one features Murder at the Vicarage, Dead Man's Folly, Sad Cypress, Towards Zero, and NRM. And I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was going to do a Agatha Christie reading project where I would select one of these anthologies and read the whole of it starting in January, and this will be the anthology I read. So I'll do Murder at the Vicarage in January, Dead Man's Folly February, Sad Cypress March, Towards Zero April, and NRM May. And I think, Deborah, if you're still up for an Agatha Christie buddy read, let me know which of these you would like to buddy read, and we can set it up at a later date. And finally, the most recent Agatha Christie omnibus I have, Murderers Abroad, 5 complete novels. This one includes They Came from Baghdad, Murder in Mesopotamia, The Mystery of the Blue Train, Passenger to Frankfurt, and So Many Steps to Death. So, that was the mostly Agatha Christie shelf. Although I'm thinking seriously, when I do rearrange my room, to move the Agatha Christie omnibuses to the top of this bookcase here, rather than adding more science fiction and fantasy to that part. But anyway, we'll see how it goes in a booktube. There's another video I want to film, so I'll go ahead and sign off for now. Thank you. Have a great afternoon, and please stay safe. Thank you, booktube.